welcome. My name is Lily, and this is the Ladybug Laboratory podcast. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming. It's been a while since I've recorded, so I'm going to try and jump right in. For those of you that are new, welcome. For returning viewers, welcome back. Some very quick housekeeping. Number one, we have a Ravelry group, the Ladybug Laboratory podcast group, which is in Ravelry. That's where you will find the show notes, which I have started doing again. As well as an Ask Me Anything thread and suggestions for topics and whatnot. Today I'm also going to be introducing something else that will be in the Ravelry group, but more on that later. You can find me on Instagram as ladybug.lily, on Ravelry as ladybuglily. That is pretty much about it. Oh, today I am drinking some Tazo tea. And the flavor is glazed lemon loaf, which is actually surprisingly undelicious. Like, it's actually really good, but it smells like heaven, and then it just doesn't taste as good as it smells, so it's kind of a little bit of a letdown, even though it's really good tea. Alright, so, today, we have got a couple of things we are going to do. I am going to go over some works in progress, as well as, sorry, my show notes are over here. I'm just going to grab these. So today is works in progress. I'm going to go over a quick stash enhancement, a little bit of some other crafts that I've started, and some information about an upcoming Mini-Skein swap that I'm going to be hosting. So that's going to be that, and I think it will end with a little bit of prattle. So without further ado, let's get started. So in case you were wondering, this is a ball winder that is sideways on the edge of my shelf, and then let me see if I can show you. There we go. On the door you can see the tack of my Swift, and then when I'm winding, I put my Swift up on there, but you can't open the door when the Swift is on there. And it just sort of like sits on there with like a little rubber stamp. So then when I'm done, I take it off and it's like, you can't even tell, it's like in the corner over here. But yeah, so that's how I wind yarn. I have to lock the door when I wind yarn so people don't open it up and break the Swift. But yeah, that's, I really like it because then it's sort of on the wall and it's not in the way as much. Alright, anyway, works in progress. So today I have a whole bunch of works in progress. I have a list, I have a pile. I'm going to try and make sure that I get through everything. So, pretty much all of my works in progress you have not seen before. I will start with the only one you have seen before, which is living in my Lone Larch on the Go bag, which has a little apple pin. And this is just my vanilla on-the-go sock. Last time that you saw this, I was about here in the first sock. For my on-the-go socks, I knit them on 9-inch circs, which I can't find. I use Chiagu 9-inch circs. Here we go. These ones. And they are a size 1.5. US, which is, a size 2 US, which is 2.75 millimeters. And I just knit an afterthought heel, so I go straight up. And the cuff and the toe, I knit in a size down, which is a US 1.5, which is 2.5 millimeters. So anyway, last time you saw this, I was about halfway through. I'm doing a true afterthought heel on this one. Normally I do a forethought heel where I put some yarn in, but I completely got distracted and knit like 14 inches of this before I realized that I had forgotten to put in a heel. So I'm going to do a true afterthought heel. The yarn is Two Sisters Yarn Company. And it's the Yellowstone base, and the colorway is Len Rin Kegamine. I'm not really sure. And I actually got this as a gift from Jessica Ruth of the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast. So hi, Jessica. It was really good to see you. Jessica and I got to meet up for a little bit at Stitches West, which is in Santa Clara. and it's in sort of the San Francisco Bay Area, and that's where I live, and that's where her family is from, so we got to meet up and say hi, which was really nice. Yeah, so since you saw this last, I finished up this sock. I did the ribbing on the top. It, I believe, is like 14 stripes on each side because they're kind of small stripes. And these are going to be for my brother. And his thing is he likes hand knit socks, he likes funky socks, and he wears a lot of purple. So I figured this worked for him. People have been asking me if my brother is a Packers fan. He's not, it just is purple. So I finished that first one. Obviously I haven't finished the whole sock because afterthought heel. And I started the second one. So I did the toe, did the whole body of it, and I'm working on the cuff. Normally I do not work on my sort of tube socks at home because I save them for when I'm on the go. But I think in this case I'm going to finish up the cuff and start another tube sock so that I definitely will have something to grab on the go. I always have, usually self-striping, some sort of sock that's really just a tube, and I do afterthought heels to keep it that way, in this bag so that I always have something to knit, and that kind of goes with me everywhere. So I'm almost done with that, and you know what? While we're at it, let's talk about some more afterthought heels. So you may or may not remember these. These are my Cat and Tight socks, and this is another tube that I knit. Now this one I actually did a forethought heel. I just forgot to have scrap yarn, so I pulled from the other end, so it's actually yarn from the same ball, but you're not going to be able to see. But there is scrap yarn in there, it's just the same yarn. But here it is. So I finished these up. I put the yarn in my blanket and I started sending it out in minis, and I went to add the heels the other day and realized I don't have any of that yarn left, which is fine by me. I will just use a contrast heel. So I went looking through my stash and I found this, which is Knit Picks Stroll Brights in the electric blue colorway. And I actually already had they're 50 gram skeins. I had 2 skeins of that to make a pair of socks for my husband. So I just used one of them for the heel. So I'm currently working on the heel. I love how it sort of pulls out the blue in this. This is the Cat and Tight socks. Well, yes sir, Cat and Tight socks colorway from Nerd Girl. No. Oh my gosh, it's not from, what is it from? Oh my goodness, I don't remember. I will put it in the down bar. So yeah, these are for my husband. They were another of my sort of tube socks. And the other day, I kind of have a thing where I don't like having more than one pair of afterthought heel socks that don't have the heels in them. Just because I know I will never finish them. And it's March, and as pathetic as this is, it's March. Oh, by the way, today is March 11th. It's March, and so I am already starting to think about Christmas gifts. So I figured if I could just get this done, I could get this one checked off for my husband. So yeah, that is what's going on there. And that is living. I'm using, I knit those on the circs, the same circs, and I'm using 1.5 needles for the heels, toes, and the ribbing. So that is living in, oh my goodness, my Dancing Sheep socks bag with the sage top, and it has a little ladybug pin on it. I am going to pause very quickly because my phone is running out of battery, so I'm going to charge it and then I will come back and continue. Alright, and I'm back. So, those were my 2 sock works in progress, and I actually have 1 not sock work in progress that I'm going to show you, and then I have 4, I believe, if I'm counting right. 1, 2, yeah, 4 works in progress of a different category. So, this one is living in my bag from Earl Grey Fiber Studios with the cork bottom, which I love. And I am making another star shower cowl, which looks like this in my terrible printer ink. And this is a pattern that I've made before. It is by Hilary Smith Cais, I guess. And it's basically like a shawl cowl. I called it a shawl in the past, and the one that I did before I did about a year ago, and that was my shower cat shawl. And if you have been a long-term viewer, you know that I really liked the way that it fit, but it wasn't the colors for me. And so it's currently living at the Black Squirrel in Berkeley, which is my local yarn store, as a shop sample. And I figured, you know, if it's going to sit on my mannequin, it might as well sit on hers, right? But I always said I was going to do it again in colors that were better for me. And lo and behold, a year later, here I am. So I am using Wee Chickadee Woolery. And it says, nature-inspired woolly delights, handmade with love. And I am doing, let's see, this is 400 yards, 100 grams, fingering weight, 80/20 superwash merino and nylon, in the colorway Pathless Woods. And this is what it looks like all caked up. It's sort of got these golden and brown and teal and green colors. And this is the cowl so far. So it's doing some interesting pulling that I'm not 100% a fan of, but then when I stretch it out, you can't tell as much. You can on the screen actually a little bit, but I've done the first bit of it, so I joined in the round so it would sit like around my neck like that. I can't actually put it over my head because the cord doesn't stretch enough. But I can if I discount the cord. And then it will sit like a cowl the rest of the time. So it's kind of lining up each of the colors as I go around. So I'm trying to counteract that. It started this sort of micro-strapping. I really liked how it was coming out at the top. Oh my gosh, I just love that. Look at those colors. The color's actually coming across quite well today. So, I don't know. I'm going to finish it. I'm pretty sure that once it's done and it's sort of all flopped around, you're not really going to be able to tell. But I really love the colors, and I'm looking forward to having this done. So I'm doing that on my Chigo Interchangeables with a US 7, which is a 4.5 millimeter. Yeah, I started that at Stitches West, which I mentioned that I went to. More about that in part B. But I started this the Friday night that I was there. So, all right, so that's that. And those are 2 sock whips, 1 neckwear whip. Sorry, my chair is creaking a little bit. And then I have 4 blanket whips. So, the first one is living in my little Skein in the Big Wool Pooh Bear bag. With a leather handle that I got at a maker fair. And very quick story before we go any further. Those of you that are long-term viewers know that I have a family life blanket. And it has 8-inch squares that I sort of crochet together with the binding that I use. And there's a square for each place that I've been. So I buy a yarn from a local... Ooh, I'm on a roll today. My camera just shut off again. So, family life blanket, 8-inch squares, 1 for each place that we've been. And there are a couple of exceptions to that. Like, we did one for our wedding, right? Because that's a momentous occasion that needs to go in the family blanket. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. But my in-laws had a house in the Adirondacks, on a lake in the Adirondacks, that had been in their family for a very, very long time. And it was my father-in-law, it's really his favorite place in the whole world. And I saw a pattern, this is like 4 or 5 years ago, gosh, when was this? 2014. 2015, I saw a pattern on Ravelry, early 2015, called the Tree Rings blanket. And it immediately made me think of him and their place, and you know, he's such a utilitarian guy, and I didn't want to, I knew he would love it. I knew he would love it. So I used some Miss Babs Wowza in the espresso colorway, and I made a blanket that I'm really proud of, and I'm still proud of it. You know how sometimes you're really proud of things and then years go by and you're like, yeah, that wasn't that great. I'm still proud of this blanket. And he loves it. He brings it with him everywhere. And they ended up selling the house. Which, whatever, family drama, I wouldn't get into it. But I figured, since, you know, my husband grew up here and it was a big part of his life, and I would make a square with some of the extra yarn that I had. And I've tried this several times, and all the times that I've tried it, it has sort of turned into a pooch, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take, the blanket that I made was a pie blanket, and it was center out, and I'm trying to take the motifs of that blanket and turn it into a square that I can put in our family blanket. So this is like attempt 5, but I actually really like it so far. So this is what I've got. And I'm knitting this on size 5 Knitter's Pride DPNs, and I'm using the Miss Babs Wowza. I don't have a ton left. This is what I've got left. Now, I had used this to make a French espresso, my French espresso shawl scarf thing, which I promptly lost, and still really bothers me that I lost it. And every time that I go to Stitches West and I go to the Miss Babs booth, I look and I see if they have more of that, because I want to make another one. But I'm going to get up from the squeaky chair. Okay. Sorry. I took a whole bunch of designs and sort of cobbled them together from Nikki Epstein's Knitting in Circles book. And she's got a lot of really lovely designs in here. So I got this book at Powell's in Portland when I was there 2 summers ago, with the intent of making this square, and I still haven't gotten around to it. And so not only have I been cobbling it together with that, but I've also been cobbling it together with the original pattern, and dealing with the increases and all of that. And this is my Make Beautiful Things binder. It's a 8.5 by 5 binder. So I have been keeping track of what I've done in there, so that I can sort of, I don't know, have some sort of record of it. I don't know that I'm going to put the pattern anywhere, but I want to have it just in case, so I can sort of understand what I did in case I have to do it again or frog back or anything like that. So right now I've reached kind of a stalemate point in the pattern, and I'm going to put this as being set aside until I can really take a couple of hours and focus on it, which I was going to do this weekend, but something else came up that I will talk about more in a moment. So I did mention that these are all blankets. So it's technically not a blanket, right? But you know, it's blanket adjacent, if you will. So this next one is living in my Manicori bag. And I am using a new Knit Picks yarn. It is called Dapple. And I am using the Foxfire color, which is this gorgeous green. There you go. And what I am making is a baby blanket. I'm having some really great luck today when it comes to cameras, aren't I? So, I am using the Knit Pig Staple yarn, and I am making the Whirling Wildflower blanket. And it is a circle baby blanket. It is by 10 hours or less, and it is brioche, which is why I wanted to make it in the first place. This is the first time I have done brioche flat, and it is the first time I have done one color brioche, and I messed up and had to rip the whole thing out, which I will get into later. But this is where I am. So yeah, the color's not quite coming through now. It's a little bit more like that. It's like a rich series of greens. It's thick. This is like a super bulky weight yarn. And so it's knit flat, and then you seam it up the side. I messed up the first time on the brioche stitch, and so you're supposed to knit the stitch under and catch the stitch above and like knit them both together. And what I was doing was knitting the stitch under and intentionally letting the stitch above completely unravel, and it was just creating like a pass in the front. So I had like yarn passed across each of these. And I contacted the designer, and she was like, yeah, that doesn't look right. She couldn't quite tell me what I had done wrong, but she sent me a video for doing the stitch right, because she said she knew I had messed up on this particular stitch, and she was right, so I had to rip it out. But I'm really enjoying this. Now, I am not a huge fan of working with thicker weight yarns, so I'm not doing a whole bunch of this at once because it tends to make my wrists hurt. Here's a close-up of the yarn. But I am really enjoying the result that this is making, and I'm looking forward to it being done. Yeah, I was doing something with brioche, and I was like, I want a brioche blanket. And then I found this, and it was just so scrumptious and squishy, and I, of course, had to do it. So, yeah. Oops, I forgot to put my pattern back. That's what that is. I am using my Chigu interchangeables again. And these are US size 11, which is an 8mm. Yeah, so that's blanket number 2. Blanket number 3 is the blanket I'm sure you knew I was going to share. Tilt the camera a little bit. Okay. Which is my stained glass scrap blanket. So this is living in my Use So-and-So Jumbo Kitty Library bag. And it has 2 pins on it. It has a little meeple with a heart and a start something pin. And this is the jumbo size, and it's got 2 pockets, and pretty soon this is not going to fit in this bag, and I actually do have another bag planned for it. But, okay, so last time that you saw this, I mentioned that I had been doing this in sort of 3 sections. So I had this triangle on the side, and then like a pyramid in the middle, and I was going to connect them all up. So I had finished, oh gosh, if you're looking at the blanket, this triangle, and I was working on this one, and I was close to finishing this one. So, alright, so this is the center, like, triangle, and as I go across, anything with a stitch marker is something that was not there last time I showed this to you. So this sort of Christmassy one, this one, which is from my flax baby sweater, this one, which is the white mini that came with my gingerbread house yarn, this one, which is from my Stern Taller socks, this one, which I got in a swap, this one, which was Classy Christmas, this one's from a swap, this one is Raven that I made my brother's socks out of, blackberry waffle socks. This one was an Opal Mini, swap, another swap, another swap, and that one's a swap too. And then this one is from the Color and Life podcast mini set, and that one was another swap. So of all of these progress keepers, the only ones that are of note is this one, which is a little tea bag. And I'll put the makers down here as I show them to you. And this one, which is a little ball of yarn. So that was like the center pyramid. And I also finished up the black triangles to go on the bottom of it. And then I connected it to the side. So here's this, oh goodness, this is getting huge. Here's the side, which you'd already seen. You've seen this triangle. And then this is the center triangle. And I started combining them together. So I haven't actually put markers on these ones. Actually, wait, yes I have. So, except for one. But, so this one was another mini from the Color and Life podcast set. This one was the Snowflakes mini that came with Classy Christmas. And then this one was just an opal mini. And I have these strands coming out here because I wanted to get the whole repeat in there and I wasn't quite going to make it. So I just jumped ahead like a yard. So you can tell where I joined them because I actually didn't have that square. So what I did is I picked up on the red one and the purple one to make that. So, oh my gosh, this is huge. This is huge. This is, even as is, if I just hold it across the bottom, this is a wingspan. Wait, my goodness. Okay, this is a wingspan plus this. And then I have the other side to put on, so it's going to end up being almost king size in width. I have no idea how long I'm going to go to keep working on this, but as you can tell, obviously I've been working on it quite a bit, and that is why I am going to start a Mini-Skein swap, because I need some more minis. Okay, and the last blanket that I am working on is living, well, let's be honest, it's not really living in this right now. It's kind of all spread out across the floor, but I want to show you the pins. So I'm going to show you, oh no, it's covered in cat hair. I have these 3 pins from Stitches West, because I didn't know they had Stitches West pins until I went this year, and Jessica showed me hers, so I got some. So let's see, this is 2016, 2017, 2018, and this is in a Nevertheless She Knitted tote bag. This is actually what my stained glass blanket is going to move to once it is too big for that. So in theory, this is living in that, but really just kind of gets spread out across the floor. Oh gosh, one more. So I guess 5 blanket patterns. Before I go into that one, there is a pattern called the Ultimate Palette Blanket on Knit Picks that I saw and fell in love with, and it requires me, of course, to buy the entire palette set, but it's so pretty. So I ended up deciding to do a test swatch, and this is what I got, and this is with the sweet potato colorway. I may or may not end up making the blanket. It depends. I have a lot of the palette already, and so I'm going to see, my deal with myself is I have to finish the projects that I bought it for first. I have exactly enough palette that it's the same price to buy the whole 150 set or just get the ones that I'm missing, and it's way easier to buy the whole 150 set because I don't have to click through, blah, 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 blah. So when I do this, if I do this, I will probably get the whole 150 set and then just give away some of the extras that I already have duplicates of, because I don't want duplicates, unless I come up with a plan for them. But I need to clean out my room first. I need to really organize things, which, speaking of, this whole place is kind of a mess right now. still sort of moving in, and yeah. So once I get things sort of organized and I have a place to put the palette, then I'll probably get it. But in the meantime, I'm going to play around with this. Palette is a little bit scratchy, so I'm going to see what I can do to sort of make it less scratchy. So this is sort of my test swatch, and this is what a square would look like in the palette. Like it. Anyway, okay, so the project that I was about to show you also requires a little bit of a story, and this one is also crochet. If I back you up to February of 2016, my godmother sent me a text, and someone in her family had died, and I can't remember who. I think it might have been her grandmother. I'm not really sure. Or her godmother. But they had a whole bunch of yarn, and she wanted to know if she could send it to me. And so I said, yes, you can. If you give me 1 second. She sent me this entire box full of yarn. Yeah, so it was, of course, all acrylic yarn, kind of Karen or Red Heart style, and I didn't really know what to do with it. I had already been trying to get rid of some of my acrylic, and I was like, oh. But it came with this lovely note about how excited she was that she was sending the yarn to somewhere where she knew it would be used, blah, blah, blah. Well, so I got this before we moved. So we moved this last summer, and we moved 2 years before that. So I got this before that. And I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, I went through the box at some point when I was cleaning something out. I thought it was when I moved, but I don't know. And I found that there were like 24, about 24 little hexagons. Looks like this. That were already crocheted in the box. And I thought, here's what I'll do. I will turn it into a blanket, send it back to my godmother. She'll appreciate it. That'll be good. So then, of course, that box has sat in the bottom of my closet for 3 years or whatever it is. I can't remember exactly when it was, and you don't really care. So it sat there for a while is the point. And so I didn't quite know what to do with it. I knew I would get around to it eventually, right? And my mom texted me about a week ago, and my godmother's brother died, her mom has terminal cancer, and her husband lost her job. So this is not a good situation. It's been a rough year for them. And I was trying to think of what I could do, and I was in my craft room, I was working on cleaning things up, and I suddenly saw this box. Of course, now is the time to finish this, right? So I saw the box 2 or 3 days ago, and 2 days ago, and I've been working on it ever since. So it's going to be a little bit of a mishmash of colors, because that's what I got. And you might say, well, just do the hexagons in the rest of the colors that she had made the hexagons in. But she had made the hexagons in every color. Some of them, quite frankly, I don't think look good in it, but I definitely want to include the ones that she made, so I'm going to try and incorporate them. So, first I'm just going to show you kind of what I've got here. So this brown one, I have one sort of taupe, and she made this one. And then I have 3 pink, which she also made, 3 gray, which she made, and I have 3 green, and 2 of them she made and 1 of them I made. And I'm actually going to use these as an example to show you, it's so interesting how you can see the difference in gauge and stitch type between 2 crocheters. Okay, so, well, the yarn's in the front. Let me pull it to the back. Alright. So this is the one that she made. This is the one that I made. They are the same pattern, but hers are like much more full. and mine have spaces in between. And I don't know why, other than that I don't know, maybe she used a bigger hook, but I'm using the biggest hook I have, and I'm getting the same size. So I don't really know. I'm trying to be loose with my stitches. It's exactly the same pattern. Like, I agonized over copying it and making sure it would be really, truly exactly the same. Or let me put it back where they were. Okay, so this one's hers, this one's mine. So I don't really know. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Auntie D will appreciate it regardless, but yeah. So that's what I have. And then I have 3 purples and 3 browns, and neither of these had she made any of. And I decided to add these to sort of make it so that the pink ones weren't so out of place. I have 3 yellows, and 2 of them she made, 1 I did. I have a whole bunch of white. I believe I have 7 white, and 5 were her, 2 were me. Then, okay, I have 2 red, and I did both of those, and 8 of these light blue, and about half of them were her and half of them were me. I'm not going to count them all right now, but almost done, I promise. And then I have 10 of these dark blue, all of which were me, and this 1 bright blue, which was her. So in terms of levels of everything, what I'm going to do is this bright blue was her, and then the border was me, and I practiced doing a join as you go border with this color, which is this one. And I got it all figured out, but then I, of course, undid the joining part of it because I didn't know what order I wanted the hexagons to be in yet. And that means that I have these 4 that I can't use. This one she made, and I can't use it because it's a septagon. It's got 7 sides. I can't use that. And then these 3 she made, and I can't use them because they're the color of the joining. So they're just going to blend in. I might end up using them depending on how it goes, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a border in this dark blue around them and make them like coasters or hot pads or something and send them with the blanket. So the bulk of it is going to be these 2 colors because this is what I have the most of in the box. And in terms of the other colors, there's no more of that one, so this is just going to be a single. And then these are the other color. No, these ones too. Okay. Okay. There's no more gray, so I'm just going to go with the 3 gray. I did the rest that we had white of. I have 3 pink. I think it just looks so hideous with them, but whatever. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it because she did them. I do have a little bit more pink, but I don't think I'm going to do any more. There's a little bit more yellow. Again, it doesn't fit. Whatever. There were 2 of these, and I did 1 to make it match the 3 pink. So we'd have 3 sort of baby pastel of each. I don't think I'm going to do more yellow either. Then I have 3 of these green, again, 2 of which were hers, but I think this one actually kind of goes. I have enough more of the green probably to do, I don't know, another 5 or 6, so I might do some more of those. I have 2 of these, and I don't have any more of that red. I have 3 of these, and I have enough to make probably 3 more, and then same with the brown. So, right now I have about 40 hexagons. In order to make it the size that I need it to be, I need to have 95 hexagons. So, I think that what I'm going to do is keep the blues sort of proportionate, those 2 blues, and then add in the purple and the green and potentially the brown as I go, so that the 2 prominent colors will be those 2 blues. and then secondary colors will be the purple and the green, and then everything else will just be sort of speckled in. Because I think the purple and the green are the ones that go the best. Mostly the purple. We'll see. The primary ones are definitely going to be those two blues. Yeah, so that is that blanket. I will keep you apprised on that. I'm going to try and finish that one sooner rather than later so that I can, of course, send it off with all that's going on in her life. But, yeah, I'm going to take a minute and put all of this away because now it's all of it is all over my floor, and I'm going to update my progress keepers and all of that. And I will be back. I changed my mind because I don't need to do anything else with knitting projects for this, so I'm just going to go with it. So, what I have here is a stash enhancement that I'm going to talk about today. And this is from Hawari Bazaar Yarn on Etsy. And this was one of the Color and Life podcast by Jennifer and John Michael. It was one of their Maker of the Months. I can't remember, probably December 2017. And I didn't quite know what to get from them. I'd been doing this thing all year where I got something from each Maker of the Month. Didn't quite know what to get from them, so I decided to get, she had a Birdie Bots mini set. And Birdie Bots jelly beans, if you don't know, are from Harry Potter, and it's sort of like mystery flavors. So this is what it came in. It actually came in a much more adorable wrapping. I have not opened it yet. I figured I would open it on air. So, here we go. Okay, so we've got this tissue paper. Wow, okay. Birdie Bots Every Flavor Minis. We've got a blue one. Oh, if you're getting them, then I guess don't look. The blue one. Oh no! What was that? Oh my goodness! Inside of the label there were some jelly beans! How adorable is that? That must have been like, oh gosh. That was what was making the noise. Oh, that's so cute. And it's Birdie Bots Harry Potter jelly beans. Okay, so we've got this blue one. Gray with these black speckles. That's beautiful. These all seem to be subtly speckled, maybe except for the blue. This green one with darker green speckles. Red with these speckles. And a white. It's almost like a snowy owl. Wow, these are beautiful. Let's see. So they're 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. They're about 20 grams each. Wow. And this is from Hawari Bazaar Yarns. I'll show you her label. These are so gorgeous. I can't wait to put these in my blanket. So yeah, that was that unveiling, if you will. And there is one more sort of acquisition that I would like to show you. So for those of you that don't remember or weren't here, I participated in the Bingo My God thing that was run through Reddit Knitting, specifically through their Ravelry group. It's funny because I don't actually go on Reddit. I used to years ago, and I joined their Ravelry group, and I've been more active there than I haven't been on Reddit in years. But I finished. I got a whole blackout on the board. I was so excited, and it turns out that meant I got a tote bag. It said Bingo My God. Our Knitting 2017. And along with that tote bag came this little prize set, which had some of the most adorable things in it. So it has this finger puppet, which is just very cute. I might use that as a prize in my classroom. And it has a progress keeper, a paper star. I have a bunch of those paper stars, and I'm thinking I made them in college, I think. They're at my parents' house, but I may have to do that next time I go. It has a safety pin for holding stitches. And the most exciting part is it has a mini of the We Did It Reddit colorway, which is a limited time colorway by Black Cat Yarn that I didn't know they had made until, and it was only given for prizes. So they were giving away a full skein of this as a prize, and I didn't win it, but I didn't realize that I got a little mini for being for blacking out. So there it is. It's really pretty. It's got this like peach and mint almost, and I'm pretty sure it's designed after the arrows on Reddit. So it's 84% superwash merino and 16% silver stellina, and this is of course going in my blanket. And then I'm gonna have to find something else to do with the rest of it because this one is really special and I'm not giving it away. Sorry. Yeah, so that is my stash acquisition for today, and I'm going to break and come back with my non-knitting or crochet craft and prattle and the Mini-Skein swap. All right, I'll be back. Non-yarn craft. Those of you that are returning viewers know that I made my brother-in-law a pair of thrummed slippers for Christmas. And I had actually ripped out the whole ball into thrums. And so I had this bag of thrums that I didn't really know what to do with. And those of you that don't know, thrumming is where you have a stretch of roving yarn and you fold it in half and use it as a stitch. And then the fluff is all on the inside so that it's very soft and cozy. So what I did is I took a bunch of thrums and I held them together in a ball. And then I took these socks that I have that don't fit me anymore. They're like those little no-show socks. I got a size too big, so. And I stuffed all the thrums in here, and it was much more bulky when I did this. And then I wrapped up the sock like this, and I ran it through the wash to felt them. And I made these dryer balls / cat toys / whatever you want to call them. So I have 7 of them. Now, most of them ended up with like a little crack on one side and being smooth on the other. Some of them ended up with a bit more severe of like an indent. And the reason for that is because some of them, depending on various things and how stretched out the sock was, I wrapped it just like this so it was all smooth. And then some of them I didn't have room, or sock was too stretched out, so I twisted it and then went like this, and it turns out that that caused an indent in the thrums, which makes sense if you think about it, but I didn't before I did it. So I have 7 of these. That's just 5, but this is the only one that turned out pretty much perfectly spherical. So that one makes me pretty happy. And I left one wrapped up so that you could see it. Apparently I'm in an unveiling mood today. So this is how I did it. And it sort of gets stuck. It kind of felted to the outside of it. There we go. Okay, so this one has a pretty severe indent. Darn, looks a little bit like Pac-Man. I'm so sorry. Oh boy. Yeah, so I've got 7 of those. They're dryer balls or potentially cat toys, depending on what kind of mood I'm feeling. But, you know, I figured I would use up the yarn. I didn't really know what else to do with it. So, yeah, that is my non-yarny craft, even though technically it is a little bit yarny. And at this point, I want to talk about the Mini-Skein swap that I'm running. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. Basically, you can sign up for multiple swaps. Okay, so the idea is you are going to send off 10 skeins of yarn, right? And they will either be 10 5-gram skeins or 10 10-gram skeins. You can choose. And here's how this will work. What's going to happen is you're going to go to the Ravelry group, and there's going to be a thread for the Mini-Skein swap. In that thread, there's a little form. that you're going to fill out, and it has, you know, basically your name, your Ravelry name, etc. And you will say you can sign up for X number of swaps. Because, let me give you an example. I have some scraps of yarn that are 30 grams. Well, theoretically, I could get 3 10-gram minis out of that. But if I'm doing a Mini-Skein swap, I don't want to send somebody 3 of the same yarn, right? So in my case, for instance, I might sign up to do 3 swaps, okay? 3 10-gram swaps. And I would send out 3 different packages, each of which had 10 unique 10-gram minis. But they might be the same as some of the other packages, but they would all be, each package would be unique, if that makes sense. And so what's going to happen is you're going to sign up for that. You're going to say how many you're going to do, or would like to do. I can't guarantee you'll do all of them. And it's going to be a mystery swap. So you're not going to like get a swap partner and swap with each other. What's going to happen is I will tell you, if I signed up to do 3 swaps, I would get an email or a Ravelry inbox saying your first swap is going to go to this person, your second is going to this person, and your third is going to this person. Okay. And then you would get 3 packages from 3 different people. So I would send out 3 packages to 3 different people and get 3 packages from 3 different people. And they, you know, it might be some of the same people, but probably not, depending on how many people sign up. You will never send 2 packages to the same person. That way, you're able to make sure that each package can be distinct and you won't be sending to the same person, you know, duplicates of the yarn. If you sign up, you will have at least 1 swap to do, okay? I don't know how many people are going to sign up, so I cannot guarantee that you are going to do more than your full amount, right? So if you sign up to do 10 different swaps, I can't promise you that there's going to be 10 people that can swap with you. I'm going to cap it at 10, so you can't do more than 10. I doubt anybody would say 10, but you know what? If you want to do 10, you go for it. Last time I did this, I did it just amongst a bunch of friends of mine. And there was one person that signed up for 10. She was like, I can do all of them, so whatever you want. But that's the way that it's going to work. And any other details that I need to say? I think that's kind of it. So I'm going to put all the details in the Ravelry thread. I encourage you, if you're doing a blanket or if you want to do a Mini-Skein swap, just go and check out the thread. Even if you decide, you know what, that's not really for me, just check it out, okay? Please sign up because this works best the more people we have, okay? So please sign up. There will be an option in there if you want to put that you would prefer your shipping to stay local. Again, I can't promise it. But if you do say that, then I will try and do my best, and I will let you know if I am unable to do that. So you can, you know, rescind some of your swaps. Like if you say you want to do 3 swaps, but you want them all to be in your country, and I'm only able to find 2 people in your country, I'll let you know. Do you want your third to be international, or do you want to just stop it at 2? So today is March 11th, and you're going to have 1 month to sign up. I'm actually going to cap it at April 13th because I might post this a couple of days out from now. I have to edit and everything. April 13th is a Friday, so you have to sign up by midnight-ish, April 13th. Now, that's midnight Pacific time in the US, which is pretty close to being the last time zone. It's not quite the last time zone, but it's pretty close. I will not be looking at them until Saturday morning. So as long as it's Friday for you, you're probably good. Friday, April 13th. That weekend, I'm going to spread everything out. I'm going to look at all of it. And by the next weekend, I will have matches going out. That gives me a week to message you and say, hey, do you want to have that third one be international? Or whatever it is that I need to do. So if I cannot get a hold of you during that week, I will... Like, in that case, for instance, I would just assume that you would only want to do 2 or something like that. I'm just going to make an executive decision using my best judgment. So I deeply enjoy spreadsheeting for fun. I enjoy spreading all the things out and doing big complicated things like that because it's really different than what I do for my day job, and it's a part of my mind I don't always get to engage, and that's part of why I love knitting so much. So I know it sounds complicated. Trust me, please. I've done this before. I can make it work. I promise. I can't promise that you'll get all the things you want, but I can make it work somehow. So even if you don't 100% understand all the details of it, just know however many swaps you sign up for, if you sign up for 3, you will send out 3 packages to 3 people and get 3 packages from 3 people. I will give you a chance to sign up and say if you want to do 10 gram minis, 5 gram minis, or you don't care. In my case, I don't care, right? So I only need 5 grams for my blanket, but I don't care. I will happily do 10 gram minis. And I will give you a chance to say which ones you want to receive back. So, yeah, I think that's all I need to say about that. That thread will be in the group by the time this goes live. If you have any questions, post them in the thread. And yeah, spread the word. Okay, this is where the knitting related stuff ends. And I'm going to move on to Prattle, talking about my life and some things that have come up recently for me. So if this is all you're here for, thank you for stopping by. Have a fantabulous day or week or whatever. Yeah, and I will see you later. Bye. For those of you still here, first of all, I want to show you my shirt because I love it. Duck-billed plaid. You puss. Get it? Get it? Ha ha ha. Yeah, okay, I'm a nerd. It's a pun. I got this from Pens and Penguins online, which is actually a friend of mine. So yeah, I really love this t-shirt. Anyway, my life has been nuts, and I know I say that every time. I haven't recorded for about 2 months at this point. And, you know, I had to sort of take some time for myself. I'm not going to go into details. My personal life is still personal, and I don't want to put all of this out on the internet for everyone to see, but I was in the hospital in February, on and off. Some things came up. I'm okay. I'm okay now. I promise. I mean, I can't promise that I'm fine, but I'm okay. I'm okay. There's no worry about anything long term. But it was a rough month. It was a really rough month. The doctors were playing around with medication that I've been on a regular basis, so of course all my hormones are going nuts, and yeah, I'm okay, but I wasn't okay for a little bit there, and I decided, you know what, I had made this commitment that I was gonna be more involved this year and make it more of a community, and I was gonna do this Mini-Skein swap at the beginning of February, and I just decided that I needed to focus on myself. Yeah. So that's over. I'm getting back to normal. I can't promise I will be in the full swing of things by, starting now, just jump back in, but I'm okay. And I'm getting more okay as time goes on. Yeah, so things are looking up. Things are looking up. I went at the end of February, I went to Stitches West, like I always do every year with my group of friends, and it was really nice. It was good to just sort of escape and forget about everything that was going on and look at some beautiful yarn. That's how my life has been. I don't know if I have much else to add to that. The end. Yeah, so now that I'm ending on that down note, I will tell you a joke to make you smile and or groan because it's a terrible joke. How do you tell the difference between boy and girl ants? Well, what you do is you put them in water. And if it sinks, it's a girl ant. And if it floats, it's boy ant. Get it? Buoyant. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Just before everybody comments and says what a terrible joke that was, I apologize. One of my students told that to me, and I am in love with that now. It's just so ridiculous. I can't help but just giggle uncontrollably. Also, that's not true. You can't tell the gender of an ant by putting it in water, but it's funny. So that is all. I will see you all later at part B. Have a fantabulous everything and happy crafting, and I will see you later. Bye.